What's up, everyone? Jaime Hernandez here with the Profit Playbook DFS, and today we're breaking down NFL Week 5 main slate on DraftKings. We're going position by position to help you build winning lineups, right? If you find this breakdown helpful, please make sure to drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and share this video with your DFS crew. It really helps the channel grow and keeps this content rolling every week. Please, I would truly appreciate that. Anyways, let's dive in to week 5. Before we go to week 5, gotta mention, it's an ongoing thing every single week with these injuries. I feel like it's happening now more than ever, right? A few running backs lost, right? We had Arizona, injuries there. And we had Lamar Jackson as well. He's out. And that should open up a lot of touches there in Baltimore, right? Well, anyways, let's go ahead and lock in. We're going to be starting off with our quarterbacks. This week for quarterbacks, I really love Justin Herbert, quarterback, Los Angeles Chargers. This Washington Commanders defense ranks bottom 10 against the pass, and this one's at home where, Herbert, they normally let Herbert air it out. I know he's only had one home game this year, two, but one at SoFi versus the Denver Broncos. He had 18.6 fantasy points there, which I truly believe that's his floor, right? Versus this Washington team. Once again, they ranked bottom 10th in the league. And good news for fantasy, at least for Justin Herbert, if Washington can keep scoring, let's say, Jaden Daniels is back for the Commanders. This is a game where he should throw the ball at least 40 times again, right? Once again, I truly believe Herbert has potential for 300 yards and multi-touchdown performance. And with Herbert, we've seen him run the ball a little bit more than he normally does, in his career. So a rushing touchdown is not out of the question, right? He's still yet to score this year on the ground, but who knows? This might be the first, right? Justin Herbert is one of my favorite plays at quarterback this week. And second, let's go to, I truly believe I just pick on the Cowboys and the Bears, right? But, it works, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? And we're going to Justin Fields, 5,600 quarterback for the New York Jets. And the Cowboys, Dallas ranks 32nd versus quarterbacks, right? Not just on the slate, in general, right? They bleed points to quarterbacks. And that's what we love here, right? That's what we're talking about fantasy, right? If he gets one long rushing score or a deep strike to Garrett Wilson, I truly believe you're looking at a tournament winner here. There's a lot of teams, there's a lot of quarterbacks playing this week, and I truly believe that a lot are going to pass up on Justin Fields. And for that, I love this guy, right? And, you can even stack him up with Garrett Wilson, or even play him with Breece Hall, right? I was going to say Le'Veon Bell, but with Breece Hall there. And look, he's only played 2.5 games this year, right? He was out for a couple of weeks with an injury, but the two full games he's played this year, he's been really good. Week 1 at home, at home versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, 29.5 DraftKings points. And then, of course, last week at the Miami Dolphins, he went off for 28.1. And, not talking about the Dolphins, it sucks what happened to Tyreek Hill, right? But, like I said, injuries, right? Justin Fields, love him this week. This video is going to be a little bit short, so I'm only mentioning 3 quarterbacks here. And my last quarterback I'll be talking about here is Sam Darnold, right? Hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Darnold, quarterback for Seattle. Tampa Bay, they're dealing with their own injuries, right? Offensively. Something we've seen, Tampa Bay can put up points in a hurry. And that's what we're hoping for here for Sam Darnold. When it comes to Sam Darnold, he really hasn't been in like a really high-scoring game besides that game versus the Seattle Seahawks, but that was a blowout, right? So they were just feeding the running backs. We haven't seen a game where it's a back-and-forth high-scoring game, and I truly believe this is the week that we're going to get that, and it's going to pay dividends for Sam Darnold. You can see his floor is there, and at 5,100, he's easily the best value on this slate, at least for me he is. And I truly believe he's going to surpass these fantasy numbers, easily going to hit 20 as long as that's a back and forth game. I love Sam Darnold this week, right? He's got potential for multiple scores and get these up over 300 and get his 5-point bonus over 300 yards, right? And yes, I love Sam Darnold this week, 14.2 fantasy points per game. I truly believe he breaks that 20 fantasy points per game here. And at 5,100, he's my value play of the week. And that's it. That's who I love for quarterbacks. Those are going to be the three that I'm going to be playing. Justin Fields, right? Sam Darnold, and Justin Herbert. And the good thing about those three guys, you can stack them. They got receivers to stack them with, or a running back to stack them with, or running back. So pretty good plays, especially for GPPs there or single entries. But also they're cash viable. Herbert for sure. With Justin Fields, they're cash viable as well. But have slate breaking potential there as well. Let's go to our running backs. The running backs that I love this week, we're going to go all the way to the top here. Jonathan Taylor, running back for the Indianapolis Colts. Yes, opponent rank there shows 5th, and I truly believe based on his price tag and the opponent rank, I truly believe people are going to be shying away from him. But man, when it comes to Jonathan Taylor, he's been handling carries like crazy, right? He's been a true workhorse, true bell cow running back. 17 rushing attempts is his minimum so far this year, and he hasn't had that, that's a slate breaking game, right? Besides, I would say week 3, and even then it was 35.8 fantasy points. I truly believe he gets like 150 yards here, 3 touchdowns. And you can say slate breaking, right? But I'm talking about 40 points here, and then I truly believe he will get as close as possible to those 40 points that I'm shooting for with Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor, one of my favorite studs here. And let's talk about another stud that I love this week due to injury, unfortunately, and that is Derrick Henry, right? Baltimore Ravens going up against Houston. They rank 11th. But when it comes to Henry here, his workload has been a little bit on the lower end, besides week 1, right, where he went off for 169 yards and 2 touchdowns. But I truly believe that workload is going to skyrocket this week, potentially up into 20 carries, right? No Lamar Jackson. Once again, his carries, his touches have to go somewhere. And who better to get those touches than Derrick Henry, the king himself, right? I truly believe he's going to have a vintage King Henry type of game here, and he's going to break the slate. 7,000, I think he's worth it, and especially if they can get an early lead versus Houston, I truly believe he's going to have a vintage King Henry game here. I love Derrick Henry here this week. Let's get into the values here. Martin Hampton, I believe he's going to be chalky, right? Rookie. Same with Ashton Genty, based off what they did last week. But I'm still going to a rookie, but that's going to be Cam Scatterbo here, running back for the New York Giants, right? His second game starting. He had a pretty decent game last week, I would say. Fantasy points 13. That's not screaming like, oh, he went off. But he was making people miss. He was running angry, and he was getting everything he can handle there. 25 attempts, and most importantly, he had some targets there on the receiving end, and he was getting a lot of the carries as well. I believe 5 of 6 carries, if I'm not mistaken, in the red zone, right? So that's something that we love. That's a recipe for success there. And versus the New Orleans Saints, I truly believe he's going to be the value play of the week with Cam Scatterbo. If he's not the value play of the week, then I'm going to give you the value play of the week now, and that's going to be David Montgomery out of Detroit, right? The reason I didn't mention Jamar Gibbs in the stud is because I truly believe this is going to be David Montgomery week. He's going to go off. He's going to break the slate as well. And a 5,200 there, he's just too cheap versus someone that stinks, defending the run in Cincinnati. We know who their quarterback is. That is Jake Browning, and he's not going to be able to keep this game close versus Detroit. And if that's the case, David Montgomery is going to run wild, right? They're going to run wild on him, and I believe David Montgomery is going to have at least one touchdown and a 100-yard game there. David Montgomery and Cam Scatterbo, my favorite values of the slate. And of course, the top studs for me are Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor. Let's go to the wide receivers here. Like I said, I love stacking the quarterbacks that I mentioned with their wide receivers. So let's start off with Jackson, Smith, and Jigba here, right? He had a quiet game last week, we would say, based off of what we're used to seeing from him. But same thing that I said about that I've been talking about Puka Nacua, that he's gonna have that game with a touchdown, multiple touchdowns. I believe this is the game for Njigba here, Smith and Jigba. I mean, we've seen, right? He's the catches are there, the targets are there, the yardage is there. He's only scored one touchdown. I truly believe this is at least an 8-catch, 100-yard game with one touchdown. And if the script goes like I'm hoping and I know it's going to go, high scoring back and forth, then Smith and Jigba can definitely have a multiple touchdown, 100-yard game there. That's why JSN is my favorite stud of the slate here. And let's go to our next up to the wide receivers of the Los Angeles Chargers, right? Well, before we get there, let's go with Garrett Wilson, the other guy that I was talking about pairing up with his quarterback, Justin Fields. Garrett Wilson, I am definitely going to have a lot of Garrett Wilson this week, right? With Justin Fields there, 22.5 fantasy points versus Pittsburgh and 20.2 versus Miami, right? This game versus Dallas should be a shootout as well, and if it is, Garrett Wilson is going to eat, and he's got a chance for a multiple touchdown game here, 100 yards, right, where he's failed to reach this year. Highest was 95 yards week 1. I truly believe this is a game where he goes, as long as it's a shootout, maybe 10 receptions, 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I love Garrett Wilson this week. And let's go with the Los Angeles Chargers wide receivers, right? You can go with Quentin Johnston. I mean, he's shown that he's the best wide receiver for the Chargers based on production, right? As you can see there, right? You've seen what Keenan Allen has been doing as well. Age is nothing but a number, right? You see that there. But my favorite wide receiver this week from the Los Angeles Chargers is going to be Ladd McConkey, right? Or Ladidi McConkey. Ladd McConkey. Yes, the numbers aren't there, and that's why I love him, right? He's been getting looks. He's been getting good looks as well, not just random looks. And I truly believe this is going to be the week that he puts everything together, especially after a couple of drop balls last week versus the Giants, right? This is going to be the week he's going to put it together. 100 yards there, 8 receptions for a touchdown. I'm calling that there, especially if it's a shootout like I know it's going to be. Ladd McConkey, he's my favorite receiver to pair up with Justin Herbert there, but you can't go wrong with either of them. They've been eating, right? And if this is one of Justin Herbert's more productive games, you can't go wrong. You can even, do a heavy stack there and stack him up, our receivers, right? And last but not least, I'm going to go back-to-back to him, back-to-back weeks. Chris Olave, facing the New York Giants. We saw what Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnson did right over there, and this guy is the alpha in this team. And the targets are there. I mean, the targets, only 6 targets last game, and that's pretty good. I would say for a receiver based on his price tag. But leading up before the Bills game, he was leading the leagues in targets, and I truly believe he's going to get closer to this type of targets here versus the Giants. They stink defending receivers, and for that, he's one of my favorite values on the slate. Him and Ladd McConkey, right? Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Ladd McConkey. I'm going to have a lot of those guys this week. And that's pretty much it for the wide receivers. Let's go with our tight ends here, which I have a few. I truly believe Trey McBride finally puts everything together here and has his best game of the year so far versus the Tennessee Titans. The Titans offense, they just stink. They haven't been able to put anything together, right? Passing game or a running game there. So, but I believe Arizona is going to make a statement here to get Trey McBride the ball, and he's going to have his best game of the year. Book him for at least 5 receptions, 75 yards, and 1 touchdown, I would say, on the lower end. Trey McBride, my favorite spend up there. And then if you wanted to run back a New York Jets stack, you can run it back with Jake Ferguson, right? He's been a safety blanket for Dak Prescott, and especially without CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson might be, a really good value of 4,800 there. Jake Ferguson, Dallas Cowboys. And now let's go with 2 other tight ends before we close this out. We're going to go with Zach Ertz, right? He's been getting a few targets there, and those are pretty good targets, not just random targets, like I said. They've been targets in the red zone, and we saw with Jaden Daniels, he's already scored a touchdown, right? Versus this Chargers team, the Chargers are banged up defensively, and I truly feel like they can get back into the end zone again this week. Versus the Chargers, and Jaden Daniels back at 3,800. He doesn't have to do much. I truly believe he's going to get in the end zone this week. And last but not least, playing his second game this year, he says that he's physically good to go. He can handle more workload, and that's Darren Waller. I truly believe Darren Waller at 3,500 he gets into the end zone, and if not, I mean, he's going to get more targets there. Someone needs to step up, right? For Tyreek Hill, and it might be Darren Waller here. Darren Waller, we love. So that's what we have there. Defenses here. Let's see. If you want to do a positive cash correlation, right? You can go with the Ravens defense versus the Texans. You're going to have King Henry there. If you go with King Henry, you can go with Detroit, Devin Montgomery, right? Or you can go with the Colts defense, versus facing the Raiders, right? And Jonathan Taylor on your team with the Colts defense there. But that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. And like the stacks, like I mentioned, I mean, it's just stacking them up with the quarterbacks that I mentioned, right? Not much to it this week. If it seems a little rushed, I do apologize for that. But that's all I got. And please hit that like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next week, okay? Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.